Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the international webinar on Principle Centered Leadership Qualities from Classical Indian Literature for a Harmonized Society, organized by iRaj Webinars in association with ITR Group. On the behalf of entire organizing committee, I'm Isaac Behra, organizing secretary, would like to welcome you all for this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our organization. The motto behind this non-profit association is to bridge the gap between students, professors, academies, and industrialists from multidiscipline. Apart from organizing various seminars, expert talks, and conferences, we have various highly rated multidisciplinary journals in the field of science, engineering, technology, and management. Since our inception, we have been arranged various international conferences at various parts of the world like New York, London, Australia, Hong Kong, Dubai, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, India, etc. More than 1 lakh people across the globe are associates with us, and more than 5 lakh research papers have been presented and published during our journey. Today, I'm glad to welcome you all as a member of this fastest growing network for the advancement of science and technology in terms of research and innovation. Today, we were very much fortunate to have an eminent professor and expert who is joining this webinar as an expert speaker and guest. His name is Professor Dr. K. Srinivas Rao. Presently, he is working as an assistant professor at Indira Gandhi National Tribal University, Amarkantak, Madhya Pradesh, India. Now, I would like to welcome our Professor K. Srinivas Rao to deliver the webinar.
Good afternoon to all. This is Dr. K.S. Rao. The topic of presentation is Principle-Centered Leadership Qualities from Classical Indian Literature for a Harmonized Society. Right? So here, the leadership qualities are important. Right? Now, the question is, right? Why should we accept? I mean, the role of the leader is most important because, as it is said that, right, whatever action a great man performs, the common men follow, and whatever standards he sets by his exemplary acts, all the world pursue. So, whatever the leader says, right, the common people will follow. They take him as an ideal. Right? So the role of the leader is most important because whatever the leader does or says, people will have faith on him. So what is most important is, now question is, who is the leader? Leader does not mean one should be a topmost personality in a country or in a state, or one must have to have, I mean, a big position, right? For controlling position, not necessarily. A father is a leader, a mother is a leader, right? So, and for everyone, the dependents are there. For the dependents, he is the leader. Dependents take their guardian or the parent as the leader, right? So, based on this is the response. There is a tremendous responsibility of the leader, right, in guiding his dependents. Now, what is required is for the leader, he should have to have sufficient knowledge. Number one. Number two is, right, he should have applying those knowledge. So the consequences of knowledge is not some information, right? So the consequences knowledge is practical applications, right? So nowadays, education can be summarized in 5 words: information, 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 no transformation, right? That type of knowledge does not carry us for long, right? So what is required is that leader should have sufficient knowledge, and he should also apply those knowledge. Now the question is how to acquire this knowledge. What are the sources of knowledge? How many types of the knowledge is there? There are two types of the knowledge is there. Acquiring process is there. One is called ascending process. Second one is descending process, right? So ascending process is direct sense perception and logic are the direct sense methods of acquiring knowledge. And descending process is there is a different altogether. We will discuss it. So direct sense perception, acquiring knowledge by direct sense perception means, right? We are bringing the sense objects in contact with our senses, right? So we have 5 sense organs are there, right? One is, of course, ear, nose, tongue, skin, right? Eyes. These are the senses. So we know, say for example, if I say the door is in white color, right? So that means that the door, object door is brought in contact with the eyes. So then based on this, when this object has brought in contact with these eyes, then I'm acquiring the knowledge of this. Yes, this door is such and such shape and such color, right? So this is called direct sense perception. Say for example, if I see that this tree, right? This is a mango tree. This is a banana tree. This is, right, an apple tree. How can we say? Because the object is in contact with my senses, and therefore I'm acquiring the knowledge of that object. So that object is such and such color, size, shape, etc. and etc. Right? So this is direct sense perception, right? Direct sense perception is that one. Second one is logical inference, right? So logical inference means, suppose when there is direct sense perception is not there, right? So what we do, we, right, with the mind, right, we will try to acquire the knowledge. Using our logic depends on our past experience. Say for example, as a teacher, I have certain and such experience and solving such and such type of mathematical problems, whereas a layman do not have that experience. So why? Because my logic is because I have been trained, right, to solve some type of the problems. So where I am focusing my mind and using my past experience, right, so that addressing this in solving a particular type of problem. So the point I want to say here is that first method of acquiring knowledge is that direct sense perception, bringing the object in contact with the right senses. Say for example, there is a smoke is coming, right? So there is a smoke is coming from some corner. So if though I have not seen that the fire is there, but using my logic, I can say that there is a fire. Why? Though I am not seeing the fire directly, based on the smoke, because the smoke that is coming from that corner, right? I am saying that the fire is there. So this fire, though I have not seen, right? So the fire is coming, though I have not seen, right? The fire is a logical item, right? So this is the second method of acquiring knowledge. But there are some flaws in all those things, right? In this, while acquiring this knowledge, method of direct sense perception, there are some flaws are there, right? Especially the 4 types of the flaws are there in acquiring this knowledge, right? So the first one is, right, pramada. Pramada means inertia, right? Inertia means, suppose people having the tendency that, right, we have to do certain suppose some work we need to do, right? So we have the tendency to postpone it. Yes, we will do, right, afterwards, or right, or I will do some time. We have the tendency to postpone. So this mentality is called inertia, right? So another problem is this one is having this a Brahma. Brahma means illusion. Illusion means thinking what is not there, right? Say for example, in the night time, we see a rope and think that it is a snake. So thinking that rope is a snake, and sometimes we also think that maybe snake also has a rope. So this is called illusion, right? Hello, can I mute my video?
Yes, sir.
Can I mute my video? Audio will be okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So second one is called Brahma, right? So the Brahma means this illusion. Illusion means that which is not, right? So this is a common every human being having thinking. Suppose we think in the night time. Say for example, we see a tree. We think that it is something. Some shadow is coming, right? Or sometimes some shadow we may think that it may be an object, a physical object is appearing. So this is called illusion. Thinking that which is not is called illusion. Third one is asakti. So asakti is, right, inability to express. Say for example, certain things we cannot express, right? So what we cannot express, say for example, right, sometimes we get so much of happiness, right? We say that I'm experiencing happiness, but how much happiness that we are enjoying, that we cannot express it. We right? Similarly, we cannot quantify it. Similarly, the suffering also, right? So these things we cannot express these things, right? So this is another problem, inability to express, right? And fourth one is vipralambha. That it means it is the cheating propensity, right? Cheating propensity. So people are having the tendency that, right, wanted to get a name, fame, adoration, right? So this is what, right? And for though they says that, like in case of this, people says that I am expert in such and such field, right? So though he is in a training state, right, in the beginning state, but he says that, right, in order to get the name, fame, and adoration, right? So this type of propensities are there in the human being. So altogether, what I mean to say here is that in the process of direct sense perception, acquiring knowledge by direct sense perception method, these type four flaws are there. One is called inertia, second one is illusion, third one is inability to express, fourth one is cheating propensity. Right? And coming to the another process is descending process of acquiring knowledge. Right? So this descending process of acquiring knowledge is, right? So based on the evidence of the Vedic scriptures, right? Right? Acquiring the knowledge. Now, why should we have the faith on the Vedic scriptures? Because so the Vedic scriptures are having axiomatic principles. They are not composed by anyone. Rather, they are compiled. So they are apaurusheyas, right? They are flawless, eternal, and self-evident. Right? So the process is called hearing in disciplic successor. Right? This is the process of discerning, acquiring the method in discerning process. So my topic is, right, principle-centered leadership qualities from classical Indian literature. So classical Indian literature is mainly, we are taking that these Vedic scriptures are origin from this, right, this land, and people used to follow and they used to believe, and by virtue of this having faith and following, they are cultivating certain qualities. So these qualities are essential for their developing, right, a finer qualities of the human being that makes them a good leader. So one of the way is that, right? One of the way is that why everything is there in front of us, then who is controlling, right? Who is organizing it? Say, for example, right, certain things we are doing, right? Say, right? So we do not have chosen certain things, but they do come to our life. Now, what is that causes that something to come to our life that we have to deal with? So mainly it deals with this, right? This Vedic scriptures defines with this. This is the an analytical study of the human body, right? It says that fundamentally, we believe that health is of three types, right? One is called physical health, second one is mental health, and third one is spiritual health. So now what is this? The physical health and mental health and spiritual health means, what about there should be bodies are there, no? So where are these bodies are there? How can we see? This physical health related to this body, right? So according to this Ayurveda, this body, that what we see, right? Not only what we see and everything that is in this world, right? Everything that is in this world is made up of with the, right, 5 great elements. That is called earth, water, fire, air, and ether, according to this Ayurveda. So now what it says that, right, from these 5 great elements, they are combined and codified into 3 gunas. That is, they says that kapha, vata, and pitta. Now, if the balanced state between these things leads to the healthy life, and imbalanced state between this KVP, right, KVP index, right, it leads to if the imbalanced state of this KVP leads to the disease state, right? Now, what are the factors that makes this, right? KVP index is either in the balanced state or imbalanced state, right? So either balanced state and imbalanced state, right? They based on this, these are the factors that are responsible for imbalanced state of this our KVP index, kapha, vata, and pitta. I say kapha means bile, air, and mucus, right? So improper food habits, lack of cleanliness, and stress are the causes that makes us people changes their KVP index, right? So that leads to the diseases in the body, physical body, right? So what it says that according to the Ayurveda, this body is made up of with the 5 great elements. These 5 great elements are combined and codified to give 3 good dhatus, that is called kapha, vata, and pitta. These things, right? If a person is remaining in a healthy state, means because of this balance of this KVP index, whereas a person is having disease, means, right, this person is because of the imbalance, right? Imbalance between these things: improper food habits, lack of cleanliness, anxiety, or stress, right? So these are the factors that makes this, right, a person may be in the healthy state or in a disease state. And the second one is related to this mental health, right? So we all know that we have mind. So the mind is the repository of all thoughts, right? So this is present in this subtle body. This is called subtle body. So the subtle body means having mind and the 5 senses. Senses means not that ear, nose, tongue, skin, eye. These are the physical senses, but within these senses, say for example, within the eye, there is a sense of eye is there. That is what is making it to see the objects. Say similarly, within the nose, right, there is a sense of a smell there, right? There is a ear, right? So that is what is making us to smell the objects. Similarly, within the ear, there is a object that is called sense of hearing is there. So that is called ear, right? And similarly, the skin and the tongue, right? So not this. What I mean to say, the five senses does not mean that this physical senses, right? Within this instrument of the physical senses, there are subtle element is there. So that is called eye, ear, nose, skin, and tongue, right? So this is what is making, right? So I mean, ear, right? Subtle elements, right? So these mind and the senses together are called mental body, right? Or subtle body. So now these are made up of with this sattva, raja, and tama. Means sattva means mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, right? And the imbalanced state of this is due to the improper consciousness, right? It means improper feeling, willing, and thinking, right? So this puts this mental health in, right? I mean, proper balance. I mean, mental health is a healthy state or a diseased state of the mind. And third one is spiritual health. So spiritual health related to the, according to the Ayurveda, right? We are not the body, we are the soul within the body, right? So now how can we see it? So it is said that you cannot see it. Now how can it can only be perceived? Perceive, how can we perceive? So we can perceive only when, suppose, right, a person has died. We say that he has gone. What has been gone? Right? What has been gone? Consciousness is gone. Right? The consciousness is gone. So only we can perceive it. The soul, right, which is right, cannot be understood by our senses. So that is the nature. So people says that, right, that the soul having come in contact with this body, right, it is so it is in this right. So this having come in contact with this the anti-material element into this body that makes this body alive, right? So this is the three types of health. One is physical health, second one is mental health, third one is, right, spiritual health. So now we are talking about the right, the qualities of the leader, right? This leader should have, there are 19 qualities that are being mentioned, right? People cultivate this, right? So these are called, these are important qualities, right? So the most important quality is here the Sanskrit words are mentioned here: amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, right? The translations are being placed in the first. So first one is amanitvam. Mana means thinking that I'm a great man. So what makes, right, means, right, what makes the person is great? He thinks that by virtue of my birth I'm great, right? Or by virtue of, because of my education makes the person feels great, right? Or having taken birth in a rich family, right? And having, good bodily beauty, that makes that person, right, feeling of sense of, put him into the sense of pride, right? So this state, right, the pridelessness state is called amanitvam, right? So the pridelessness is the important first quality. Then adhambitvam. Adhambitvam means damba. Damba means, right? Internally he's one, and externally he's. He speaks one thing and he does different thing, right? And whatever he says, that reality will not be there. And he speaks so many things just for the sake of, right? To get the name, fame, and adoration from others, right? So this is called damba, right? Right? So that means adambitva means humility, considering oneself, though he knows so many things, right? But not for the sake of name, fame, and adoration, right? Posing himself is a great man. So that is called the adambitvam, right? Adambitvam means humility, right? Feeling of oneself as insignificant, right? Feelings, that is called humility. Third one is non-violence. So the non-violence, ahimsa, that means, so non-violence, what is meant by violence? Violence, anything done, it's not that anything that is putting others into the distress is called violence. So violence does not necessarily be physical violence. It can be, you can put others into the trouble by your words, by your, you can, by thoughts also, thoughts, the violence can be done in the thoughts, at the level of thoughts, and at the level of mind level, and at the level of the bodily level. So that it will put others into the state, right? So not putting others into the trouble by words or by actions, right? Or even their mind level, right? That is called ahimsa, that is called non-violence. And the fourth one is tolerance, right? So if somebody puts us into the trouble, ability to react to such situation, right? Or not having the tendency to put others into the, suppose, if somebody puts us in trouble, then trying to not reacting to that situation is called tolerance, right? Immediately. So that is called tolerance. Then simplicity, next quality is simplicity, right? So simplicity means he thinks one thing and he does a different thing, and he speaks altogether another one. So mind, speech, and thoughts, there is no coherence in these things, right? So simplicity means we can say that a person is simple, right? Only when, right, his actions, thoughts, and mind, thoughts at the mind level, and speech are in coherence. So that is called simplicity. And the next one is, the sixth one is acharya upasana. Acharya upasana means approaching a bona fide spiritual master, right? So the spiritual master will instruct the person the knowledge of the soul, right? So how he can instruct us? By three things should be there. Should be very submissive, should be, right, inquire, and we have to please him by rendering service, right? Pranipata pariprashnena sevaya. These three, by pleasing this acharya who is, right, who can instruct us this knowledge of the soul, will acquire this knowledge, right? And to approach him, right, we have to be in the mood of serving. So this is called acharya upasana.
Thank you, Professor K. Srinivas Rao, sir, for sharing your valuable time and for joining this webinar. I would like to thank all our sponsors and coordinators. I would also like to thank our president. We will happy to hear your comments and compliments or suggestion at our Facebook and Twitter page. This video will be available shortly in our YouTube channel. Kindly subscribe our official YouTube channel iRaj Conferences and Seminars for all past and upcoming webinars and expert lectures. Thank you all. See you in another webinar soon.